They've now reported severe eye pain since that event.
Congressman, thank you so much for being on the program. This, of course, shocked the world, but maybe there's nothing shocking left for us in this political landscape that seems to be just like suicidal for President Trump and the entire MAGA movement. Love to talk to you about the comments yesterday. 5 assassination teams. Were you briefed on this as well?
Well, my briefing wasn't exactly 5 teams, but I talked with Matt about it. But my briefing said that Trump remains the #1 target, and there are assassination teams in the country. And so we know what some of those teams are from. We know like Iran is one of those teams. We know that Pakistan has one of those teams. We know that there's some domestic teams. And these are, Benny, what makes this particularly pernicious is if you can get some ostensibly, now remember, ostensibly here, some 20-year-old kid with no experience who somehow manages to put together advanced explosives with detonation equipment, sneak by, do a drone reconnaissance, get on top of the building, and take a shot at the president and kill somebody else. And then you get this other crazed guy that, we can go into his background a little bit too. That's what's pernicious here is if those types of individuals are getting shots off at the president, if you actually have these teams that both Matt's been briefed separately from me, and then the briefing I got, and then we compare notes. This is particularly dangerous to President Trump and also to the country. I mean, let's just be frank here. That would be very inducing to a total split in this country if President Donald Trump is assassinated, or even if there's one more real assassination attempt on President Trump before this election cycle.
Begs the question, Congressman, why don't we cut off all foreign aid, all funding, and put up a military front against countries that are actively running assassination teams? This is insane. What you just said is insane, that Iran and Pakistan are running assassination teams. And this is just allowed? Did these assassination teams just fly in? Were they welcomed in to the country across an open border, like in Arizona? How long have we known about these? And we don't go after the actual nation states that are running these teams? What world are we living in?
Well, so we don't know. I don't know. I was not briefed on how they entered the country. I wasn't briefed on how they know they're here. And the third thing is I was not sure after the brief whether we actually seeing a nation, but Iran has said that they want to run assassinations against Donald Trump. So you can presume perhaps that Iran is, and I don't know what the status is of whether these are foreign governments or whether these are terrorist cells that are based in those states that are coming over here, if I can put it that way. In other words, for instance, if you know a cartel's coming over here, Mexico's not necessarily running it, but they're Mexican cartels that are here engaged in acts. And I'm not saying cartels attempting assassination. I'm just using that as an example. But the problem that you have here, Benny, is because I do believe that what Elon Musk said is true about, if you got enough incompetence there. But I also kind of believe that what Mike Lee said after the first assassination attempt, when Mike said, this looks like a biblical style. I mean, we're talking David Bathsheba and Bathsheba's husband, where he basically David puts this guy where he knows he's going to be killed. He doesn't say kill him, but he allows it to happen. And that's the question that you have to ask yourself. Is there enough protection going on to prevent the danger that we know is real and palpable to Donald Trump? And I'm just going to say this one other thing. There is probably no one else in the world who has more threats against them than Donald J. Trump.
So you've been briefed by the Department of Homeland Security. This is what Matt said. I assume you got so you said you got a similar briefing. Yeah. They say that President Trump is the #1 target on earth. They say that Trump has the largest footprint and has the #1 threat assessment against him on earth. and yet they have denied his security requests?
Yeah, so I want to make clear, mine was kind of a whistleblower. I'm just going to style him as a whistleblower. Mine was not an official briefing, Benny, just so you know. But second of all, you get to the real point of it, the real heart of it. Why are they denying Trump's requests? And let me just give you this. I don't even know that Trump should have to be making these requests. If you know that the danger is real, you have got to respond, because that's your job. And get this, it's really bad, because only 40% of Secret Service agents are on protective detail. And so 60% of your agency is doing things like counterfeit money. That's important, and cybersecurity, and that's important. But your fundamental mission is protective detail. And you know you have real threats going on here, and are you allocating to that? Instead, what's happening is you're taking from Homeland Security investigations, and Vinny, Homeland Security Investigations has almost 1,300 of their agents in United Nations General Assembly this next couple of weeks, because they're in session. And so, and that's not HSI's fundamental job. They're giving them a brief PowerPoint/video briefing on how to be protective detail. And that doesn't do it. That does not cut the mustard here when the threat's real.
Yeah, I mean, you want to talk about a criminal cartel, the United Nations, and we're protecting it. Yeah. There's been multiple attacks. I have so many questions about Ryan Routh. We seem to be one of the only shows that is even remotely curious about how Ryan Routh is voting in states he doesn't live in, owning a firearm, even though he has 73 criminal convictions. But I'd really like to ask you about something that flew a little bit under the radar yesterday in your home state, in Arizona, in Tucson. President Trump went and did a rally there, and then members of the rally in a very condensed area, in a very tight area, members of the MAGA movement reportedly go blind, and they all have similar either chemical or microwave burns. And I mean, it defies comprehension, but at this time, you got to like rule it in. Was there potentially an attack on President Trump at this rally in your home state that included weapons that might not have been, ballistics, may have been chemical or microwave in nature? We know these weapons do exist.
Yeah, so what you're talking about, and Benny, you're right here. We just don't know enough about it. I haven't gotten a briefing on this, but you had about 20 to 25 people. So if you see these Trump rallies, you're going to see people right behind Donald Trump when he's speaking, right? And in this particular case, you had some Latinos, and I know some of those people that were there, and they developed these. And they believed it was chemical, probably chemical of some kind. We didn't see, President Trump didn't seem to get any of that reaction, but those people behind him did, behind the stage. And that's the question that we have is who all, we don't even know, Benny, we don't even know who all suffered those same symptoms. We don't know what possibly could have even caused. I mean, we could have been chemicals, maybe microwave, but probably chemicals. But you can see in the pictures that you guys do. And by the way, thank you for bringing this up. But I got to also say thank you for staying on the first assassination attempt. Who's talking about that anymore? That's gone the way of the dodo. Who's talking about the second assassination attempt? They don't even want to talk about that. And those are both real. And now we need to find out and get to the bottom of this apparently environmental, I'll just say environmental hazard that took place at the Tucson rally. So we don't, and that's one we absolutely don't know very much about at all.
And you can't, I mean, can you rule out that there was some type of microwave and or chemical attack? According to I'm not sure if they're your constituent, Congressman, but they're from your state. And you say you know them, the physicians who've been treating these individuals say that they were the victims of a chemical burn, some type of chemical burn and attack. And right there in that cluster behind President Trump, right when he walked in, those people have been hospitalized and have been blind for days. This seems like an absolutely shocking revelation.
Yeah, and if you look, there's about 25 to 30 people right there. And the reports that I have received is that about 20 to 25 of them experienced this, and it's being categorized or reported as being a chemical reaction of or a reaction to some chemical. And you can actually have chemicals that are odorless that actually produce this kind of skin irritation and burn. You can, and we just don't know what all was there. And the reports are very sketchy right now, Benny, and we're trying to get more information on it.
So I want to get. I know we're. I know that there's been some breaking news out of Congress. Looks like some work was actually done in Congress. Shocking. I don't know. It was. What did we get, guys? I'm sorry, my producers got buried here. We got a bill passed. Look at that. Oh, Secret Service expansion package. Okay, was voted for. How did you vote for this, Congressman? This is enhanced security for presidential security. Yes. Yeah.
And so we voted on that. And what it's supposed to do is like President Trump, because he's a former president, they haven't been giving him the same priority as you were giving Joe Biden, for instance. And we're like, hey, come on now. You've got to do some real response to the threat assessments, and you've got to treat President Trump, if he really is the number one target in the world, and there's no reason for me to dispute that. Maybe you have to give him maybe another couple of guys. But you know what I'm saying? And the bottom line ultimately is this: I think that Secret Service, and I've got a proposal that the Secret Service give up some of its counterfeiting and cyber missions to other agencies that could do that, and then get all of your protective detail back in there.
Yep.
So, so you have 100% working on protective detail. And that seems to me a real simple solution. It's been met with guffaws actually from both sides of the aisle, but I'm just telling you, until we actually take protective detail seriously, we look like a potential banana republic, and that cannot be if you're a constitutional republic.
I cannot believe what you just said to me. I mean, it's like I know we're gonna move. I know we got to move on here, and everyone's heading out to DC. But like, I just can't believe it. You just said kill teams from Pakistan and Iran, and domestically, whatever that means, that they're just allowed to roam free. Like, this is not a panic time. Like, nobody's even worried about this. I feel like I'm taking crazy pills here, Congressman. How are we normalizing this?
The way it gets normalized is people just can't accept it. They can't believe it. But this is why I get back to it, and I say thanks for keeping assassination attempt 1, assassination attempt number 2 in the forefront, because I just can't believe the short-term memory of Americans. I mean, I love Americans. I love this country. It's a great country. But good grief. Can we not remember 6-7 weeks ago, that first assassination attempt? Can we not remember just the last weekend where you have this other thing? And so that's why my proposal is that you basically maybe because okay, I'm gonna give this to you. I know I'm sputtering here. I'm almost sounding like Kamala Harris here for a second. But here's the way to think about it. They are taking people off of sex trafficking detail from Homeland Security, and they're plugging it into protective security. So that means that you're letting sex trafficking, drug trafficking go on while you're taking almost 20% to 25% of your HSI force and putting them over there, and they don't have the adequate training to be protective. And why is that? Well, because they're working on counterfeiting in Secret Service. Stop it. Stop working on counterfeiting, and let's start protecting. You need to protect Kamala Harris. I bet she's getting death threats. You got to protect Donald Trump and J.D. Vance, and you got to protect Joe Biden. How about protecting those people who, for good, the Trump team, or ill, the Kamala team, are actually targets for assassination? Let's do that. How about focusing on that fundamental mission for a while at the Secret Service? And if you need to, if you're worried about counterfeiting, give that back to FBI so they will stop spying on Americans with their domestic terrorism unit. So how about doing some of that stuff and reorganizing a little bit? And that's what I've proposed. And, it's like, well, Andy, thanks for that wonderful idea.
Just really, really quickly, what does a domestic assassination team mean? When you say that there's foreign and domestic assassination teams, what does that mean?
Well, there's maybe some organic groups, and I don't know who they might be tied to, who are looking to do harm to President Trump, kill President.
I say this, and here's the congressman's social media. Please follow him on X. He's just excellent. 880,000 Americans can't be wrong. I say this. I think it's to speak for both of those congressmen. If Kamala Harris supporters were getting chemical attacked, if Kamala Harris was getting grazed by bullets, if Kamala Harris on her off time had people stalking her from the bushes with firearms, like, I would be the first one screaming from the rooftop that she needs to be protected, because that's not the kind of country I want to live in. And I'm really, really glad to hopefully see some of this break through the partisan nature of politics these days. Yeah.
I hope it does.
Yeah. Thank you for fighting, Congressman. Rep. Andy Biggs, ladies and gentlemen. They're beautiful. They're from beautiful Arizona. Keep your people from chemical attacks, please, sir. Thank you.
Will do. Thanks,
all right. Godspeed, sir.